Hello, I'm Scott Bogey here with Jose Soto after his unanimous decision victory against Tyree Sutton at Cage Fury, won at 3-4. How are you doing?
Doing good. I'm doing good.
And how was that fight for you? Like, how did you feel like that fight went?
It went well. I got to get the experience of getting on 15 minutes in a professional fight, being able to see how I felt conditionally, my power, my strength, endurance, and then just being able to stick to the game plan that my coaches had for me. And it went well. It went well. So can't complain.
And was there anything in that fight which Tyree did that surprised you?
So I'm surprised he didn't throw as many strikes as he has done with other fighters. But I guess his game plan was to try and wrestle me and find out whether or not he could get me there. And when he found out that he wasn't going to get me down as easily, or keep me down for that matter, he just kind of held on to me, it seemed like.
Exactly. And obviously, it was your pro debut. How was making that walk down to the cage for the first time? Was there any nerves?
Well, I guess for most people, they would call it nerves. Not to say that I don't feel anything. I do feel something. I think perspective is everything. And I have this perspective on the feelings that I feel going into a competition, and it's my body's response to what's ahead. And I know what's ahead. I know what I've asked for. I know what I've worked for. So getting this opportunity finally, it doesn't seem like something is being dropped upon me, and I say
Yeah.
that in a sense. I feel like people get those nerves and feel questionable about what's ahead because of they feel like a load has just been dropped upon them, so they have to carry that load, and that's where some people break. That's where most people break. And so for me, I remember those days. I remember those times where I'm begging for moments like this. It sounds cliche, but I do remember these days that I've screamed, yelled. I've had so many moments where this one of many opportunities, one of many moments that I look forward to reaching and conquering. This was one of those moments, being able to turn pro and to finally be able to do that, to finally know I'm about to make that walk and make it happen. It was mine. It's just that walk was just all mine. That's how it felt. It wasn't about what was before me. It wasn't about what was after me. That walk to the cage felt like home. Felt like it's exactly what I asked for. So now we're in.
And that's you got the first victory. Now, obviously, you look completely fine. Are you back in the gym already?
No, my coaches told me to chill out, for a week or two. For me right now, it's about recovery. This has been a long camp. I was supposed to fight in June against
Yeah.
Tyree. Got pushed to August, but since knowing the fight in June, 2 months prior to that date, I was already in camp, and so that fight got pushed back. We knew it was going to happen in August, so we just kind of kept training. We just kept doing what we had to do, and it has been a very long camp. It's been a solid 5 months for my pro debut. Going into a camp, I mean, going into a fight with that long of a camp for my pro debut. I mean, it's definitely smart that I take the necessary time off to rest, recover,
Yeah.
kind of step away from fighting all that stuff, and just kind of be human, I guess. So I'll be back in very soon, taking care of some skin stuff and some minor injuries. I bruised my hand pretty well in the fight. Nothing's broken, but they just said my ligaments are pretty bruised. So got to let that heal up too before I can go in there and punch people again.
That sounds great. And so, do you feel like that's going to be you for the year and then probably try to get one early 2025? Or do you feel like we could see you back in before the end of the year?
I heard at least that CFFC is having a card in December, and I'm pretty sure it's in Atlantic City again. So they can count me in on that one. So
Well, it would be great to have you on that card. You were great that in the last fight. You're going to be great in this fight as well. Have you had any fight offers since then, either from K Fury about the fights in September or from other organizations?
No, nobody's come to offer me anything. Who knows? That may change though. It would be nice to have those opportunities to fight. Ultimately, it does determine whether I can fight in the state. That's the biggest hurdle that
Yeah,
we'd have to. But we know that Jersey will let me fight. So right now it's just a matter of me resting, recovering. And like I said, December is what I heard, and December lines up perfect with me. Enough time to rest, enough time to prepare, and make it happen. There's a lot more to show with the Soto show.
exactly. And I remember us speaking before the fight, and you're saying you're just taking the fight to get your foot in the door, and then you're probably going to drop back down to the middleweight division. Is that still the case?
I'm probably gonna have a couple more fights at light heavyweight. Um, Something that we at least we it's not that we didn't take into account. I think more so now that we can make this an actual thing, it's smarter to kind of ease our way into that, get the experience in, and really grow into my body. So we're gonna give it two more, three more light heavyweight fights. I'm leaning more towards two more, so we'll see. But ultimately, it's about just getting into that whole, I guess, cycle of camp, cutting weight. Whereas, like, if I would have tried to cut down to 185 for this last fight, it wouldn't have been good for me. My body wouldn't have definitely responded well. So now it's important to do it the right way and not drain our body. So that was the one thing that I noticed making this weight cut, even for me being per se natural middleweight, coming down from like 220 to cut down to 205. Even that was, even that sucked. So it's never easy cutting weight. So it's just a matter of getting used to it. So.
And not sure if you saw this, but going into this fight, I saw on Twitter a lot, there was a lot of comparisons between you and Sharia Magomedov in the UFC, saying that you're the American version. How does that feel to get that comparison?
No, it's funny. It's just funny, I would say. The guy, I actually met him one time in Las Vegas. I actually have a picture, me facing off with him. So, it's actually it's cool to see, social media kind of going around and, making their comparisons and just giving, and it's just typical social media stuff. I mean, for me personally, it is what it is. He is in the same weight class, so would love to fight him one day. And that's pay-per-view right there. So just a matter of just doing my job, him doing his job. He's paving the way for guys like me as well, as much as I'm trying to pave the way for guys around here to know that they can do this no matter what. And he's showing that we can. So, guys like him, I respect.
Exactly. And do you feel like more jurisdictions need to like allow you guys to be able to fight? Because obviously you are able to fight, you have got the power, and you are able to get the victories.
Yeah, I mean, think with enough people stepping up and being willing to do it, well, there's no there's no real denial in it. Like we can make it happen. I mean, there's not obviously it's we're the minority of people in the world that are, fighting. So that number of people for them to even be good is slim, and then most of them probably suck. So that never pans out
Yeah,
well for them that aren't good and they have the disability per se, and then they get hurt in fighting. That would just trump any slim chance of guys like me, guys like Shadabullah to be able to be successful in MMA. So we are walking a thin line. So
and how do you feel like obviously with title fights in Cage Fury, they do have the 4 or 5 minute rounds and then an extra round if needed. Do you feel like that is good because it allows you to not get hurt as much if the fight is not going your way? Or do you feel like they should have that extra round? Because obviously anything can happen in a fight.
I mean, uh, I guess I would have to speak from my personal perspective on like how I would fare in 4 round fights as opposed to going five. And for me, my style, I'm only going to get stronger and better as the round goes on, as the fight continues. So, if it's going to a decision and we're going into the fourth round, the guy's probably really beat up and it's not going to the fifth. But there's some guys that are tough, and some judges aren't the best, and it may go to a fifth round. But it's just for me that element of the last round, whether it be four or five, depending how the fight's going. Like for me, it's go hard or go home. Like it's empty the tank. We're already in here. Let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
get the job done, finish it. So you know, it doesn't really affect me per se, but I think like to your point, you saying that it like prevents athletes from getting injured as much. Like, yeah, I think that's a smarter way to go. So guys aren't, having to take that fifth round after getting their ass beat. They just, maybe call it a night. All right, 4 rounds is all you need.
Yeah.
That's it. So yeah, I guess that could really help it out.
And then, like you're saying, some judges, they aren't the best. They do have wonky scorecards. Do you feel like those judges need to be a bit more taking responsibility for their bad scorecards? Also, at the last weekend's pay-per-view, there was a judge who scored the fight for Tuivasa on all 3 rounds. He wasn't scoring another fight for the rest of that fight card. Do you feel like that
Mm.
needs to happen more to make sure that these judges are getting the correct scorecards?
It seems like it is starting to happen. So I mean, hearing that, obviously we've always dealt with uh sleepy judges, I would say, and I feel like MMA is still such a new sport that you have guys that don't really care about it as much in the position to judge, decide, or coordinate the whole thing. And I think as it progresses along, the years, I think you'll have more and more people. Like I think one fighter, Chris Lieben, he's a referee or a
Yeah.
judge or something. Guys will start to who are more qualified will step into those roles, and you'll start to see a more structured, a more precise system in the UFC or at MMA in general. So that just seems like what you just said, the guy being removed. That just seems like it's the start of it. So that's good. We need
Well,
more of that.
thank you for coming on. I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, we'll be able to see you again in December and we'll be able to get you back on the channel. Again, anything you were wanting to say before we leave it?
Thank you to all those who came out and showed support. It was the first time really hearing my name in the crowd, roaring and stuff like that. For my coaches, thanking my coaches, my sponsors. Big thanks to my sponsors for all the things that they've done for me. That allowed me to really focus on my fight and my fight kit. I have a fight kit coming out. If you guys saw my fight and saw my walkout, there was a fight kit, the Real Hitman fight kit. Soon that'll be out without the sponsors on it. It'll just be the plain, design with the shorts for people to buy. Gonna have a link out soon with the pre-order. So for anybody that's interested in that, I'll have that pre-order soon on my Instagram at the Real Hitman on Instagram. So check it out.
Well, thank you for coming on, and I can't wait to hopefully we'll get to see you in December.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.